YouTube vinyl community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about a slightly Beach Boy-ish holy grail for me, something I've been looking for quite a long time. Never thought I'd ever see it. This, in fact, is the Beach Boys' 25th anniversary on 5 cassette tapes. That's enough of that. Anyway, this is something I've been searching for years, like I said. This is a very cool box set that came out in 1987 to celebrate, you guessed it, the 25th anniversary of America's band. And it's a great compilation. I mean, it's 60 songs over 5 tapes, so this really covers everything you can think of between 1962 and 1969 up to Breakaway. So this is all Capitol stuff up to their original contract ending in 1969. So this is the more common foil cover, as they call it, which is very shiny. You can see the reflection in there. There is a very rare white covered version, which is just like a white papery material, which goes for quite a lot of money if you could find one. I'm not sure if it's a promo or if they just made a different variant of it, or if it was available for like a record club, what the deal was. But anyway, this is the much more common. I don't know how many of these things were sold, but anyway, it says the Beach Boys, 60 Beach Boys greatest hits on 5 cassettes, digitally remastered from the original recordings, which was a very popular thing to do in the late 80s, where, you know, in the 80s anyway, I mean, record companies were making you go out and buy all your old favorites again and again and again. Oh, you had them on record? Go buy them on tape. Oh, you have them on tape? Go buy them on CD. Oh, you have them on tape and CD? You should get the digitally remastered ones now. These sound a lot better, so the 80s were a field day for reselling stuff. The late 80s, the 80s in particular, on the Beach Boys market, insanity. I'm going to make a video at some point about the amount of compilations that the 80s produced for the Beach Boys, because it was absolutely astronomical. How many different collections came out for this band? Insane. This one in particular, though, is pretty lovingly well made. Well, lovingly well made. I like the cover art. It's simple, it's shiny, silver, 25. The back of it gives you a nice little story about the Beach Boys. It kind of just explains what happened. Here's all the music they made. Here's what went down. And then it gives you just, you know, Volume 1, Volume 2, up to Volume 5 of all the songs. And it does go in chronological order. And it starts off with Surfin, which you don't see pop up on greatest hits albums that often. But to be an actual compilation, pretty cool to have it on here. But it does cover a lot of really great tracks. Like, I have to give this thing credit, and I have to give Capitol credit for actually, like, putting a focus on stuff that they don't normally cover, which they really haven't ever since. A lot of these songs kind of get forgotten about. You know, where else are you going to see a greatest hits compilation with the nearest faraway place on it? Good luck. Salt Lake City, bit of an obscure one there. Hushabye, not too obscure, but you don't see that, but that's one of their best songs. One of their best covers. A Young Man Is Gone, interesting track to be on here. Finders Keepers, 10 Little Indians. Hawaii, Hawaii's a great song. And Your Dreams Come True. So I'm just listing off some kind of rare ones. Not rare, but slightly more obscure choices to fit onto a greatest hits. But when you have 5 tapes to fill and 60 songs to pick, you got your choice. You got your pick of the litter, if you will. Here's the side of it. Just says the Beach Boys, 25th anniversary. I think that's it. Yeah, it gives Capitol, mentions that it's got the Dolby system on it as well. And let's open the box. When I got this thing, it was a bit dirty, so it took me some time to clean it. But it looks pretty shiny now. It feels all silky smooth now. The box itself, there was no booklet as far as I could tell. It was just the rear story on the back of the box, rather. That had the information that you'd want. And then there's this. Here's how the cassette tapes are housed. So you got Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whatever order they might have come in, I don't originally know, but this is how they were. Each tape was individually sealed when it first came out. And there's all just slightly different color variants. So here's blue, here's pink, here's blue with pink, here's blue with blue, pink with blue. They kind of changed it up a little bit. And the covers just follow what the front of the box looks like. So, you know, you got the guys' faces there. Cool, they put Bruce on there as well. Show all 6 Beach Boys, well, 60s Beach Boys anyway, before Blondie and everybody else joined up. Back cover, pretty simple. Nothing too crazy to write home about in terms of the packaging on these things. They're a little boring. The rest of the package is nice. The big shiny box, kind of cool. But when you open it up, kind of drab. I mean, it's kind of like boring white, pink, blue setup here. You'd think they put like, I don't know, orange, or a picture of the sun, or hell, even a bloody surfboard. But, you know, nothing of that came up apparently. But I guess they're trying to be a bit proper, really. But, you know, the inside of the tape, pretty typical late 80s clear shell cassettes. They mentioned the Dolby on there again. Oval Capitol logo on the sides there. And that's it, you know, 1987 Capitol Records. But I was very stoked to find this. These tapes in particular don't really work well. From what I could figure out, this must have been in someone's basement over the years, and temperature changes, mildew, the whole 9 yards can affect a cassette tape, and I think that's what happened. But I'm not giving up hope just yet. I'm going to keep working on this thing and really see if I can make them work. Just keep them out in a dry environment, maybe pull some of the tape a little bit, kind of loosen it up, shake it out. So I'm determined to make them work. Because it's such a darn cool box set. It's not like I don't have these songs, but it'd be nice to play them and enjoy them. But even if this thing is kind of a dud and doesn't really work, still kind of fun to have. You know, so the back of this thing is nothing really new to talk about. It's all the same kind of story you've heard a million times. It's one of those things where it's like, can any review of the Beach Boys get away with not saying, boy, those 60s sure were fun, fun, fun. I wonder if they caught a wave. Hope you guys are going to be feeling those good vibrations, nostalgia with this stuff. I hope I hear the music. Like, it's just that kind of stuff. Like, we get it. Like, does every Beach Boys compilation liner notes have to talk about that kind of stuff? Like, you don't have to bring it up. We've heard it so many times. Anyways, let me read the last paragraph on here, because I won't read the entire thing because it's a lot to read, and this isn't Storytime Theater with Giggens right now. Although that could be fun. Not today. The last paragraph here. So after the whole thing, they talk about, you know, the catchy lyrics, the hooks, the songs, the up and downs here. Ultimately, of course, it all comes down to the music. Those wonderful, spirit-lifting songs and their exciting, infectious recordings of them. It's a weird phrasing. As this hugely entertaining collection reminds us, the good vibrations the Beach Boys set in motion 25 years ago continue to resonate as powerfully and meaningfully today as they ever did, still giving pleasure to and enriching the lives of new generations of listeners. By Pete Welding. And this is true. At this point in time, the mid to late 80s, the Beach Boys were on fire. I mean, they were a humongous concert draw. You know, and like I just recently did that Sunkiss 25th anniversary record too. So here's Capitol's take on the 25th anniversary, being like, well, we were here first, guys. Here's 60 songs of recordings from the Beach Boys on 5 cassette tapes. As far as I know, this was never put out on CD and vinyl. It was only a cassette tape thing, which is kind of unique and kind of cool to see just a cassette tape release. You don't see that too often. It's usually multiple formats, especially in the 80s when, you know, they wanted to say the same thing 100 times. So kind of cool to see it this way. But let me read off the last tape here, because I bet a lot of you guys are wondering what's on tape 5, because it does go in chronological order from day 1 up to the end of the 60s here. So I'll read it off to you. So very interesting song selections here. Tape 5 starts off with Good Vibrations, Heroes and Villains, Wild Honey, Darlin', Friends, which is good to see, Do It Again. Solid track listing there. Side 2, The Nearest Faraway Place. Bruce Johnson gets a showing on a Greatest Hits album. There we go. Never Learn Not to Love. Bit surprising with that one, really. Bluebirds Over the Mountain. Again, kind of surprised. All I Want to Do. I Can Hear Music, and Breakaway. Tape 5 is pretty solid, man. And then before that, it's all the same stuff you've come to recognize over the years. This Car of Mine, that's an interesting song to put on there. Graduation Day. Do You Remember? Guys Who Made Rock and Roll. That's an interesting song. But yeah, that's it. Not much to talk about with this thing, beyond the fact that it's really cool and I want to make it work. So I'm going to try to make these cassette tapes come back to life. But interesting packaging. Definitely something in the Beach Boys discography I've wanted for a long time. And something that has been on my radar for years too. So having come across one, I couldn't pass it up. And it was a lot cheaper than I thought it would be, because these things are apparently kind of hard to find. Even the standard foil one like this one can be a little bit pricey, around the $50 range, which nobody would pay that much for it, but I paid way less for it. So that's it. Tell me if you guys have this thing. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And you know, it doesn't exist too much online in terms of the details of this thing, so I will post the full track listing in the description box below so you can see what it is. Because there really isn't too much to know about this thing, and it's hard to find any information online. It doesn't really exist online, from what I can tell. So I'll make a video for it and let it have its own little life. But yeah, who would have thunk that, you know, within a year of this thing coming out, Kokomo would have come out and they would have had a giant resurgence of popularity. So who knows? Maybe this thing sold pretty well in the late 80s because of Kokomo coming out. You know, I don't really know much about where and how and when, and how it was sold and appreciated and all that kind of fun stuff. But that's it. My name is Giggens. This has been a long, rambly video about 5 cassette tapes in a nice, shiny box. My name is Giggens. This has been the Beach Boys 25th anniversary 60 songs collection, 25 years, 5 cassette tapes box set. Let me know what you guys think about this thing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. 10 out of 10 stars, 10 out of 10 rating, everything, because every song on here is an absolute classic, man. Those good vibrations, I do it to you every time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.